The pure spectacle of E3 can be overwhelming at times. That line between corporate entities trying to impress their shareholders and real artists creating art gets blurred really quickly, leaving that bad taste in your mouth. Fortunately, Xbox this year has decided to really focus on the former, with showcasing over 50 new games and really spending the time to celebrate the people who make games and those who love them, as Phil Spencer, Xbox head, said to kick off the show today. There is so much to parse here, so I just wanted to take a moment. Let's go through 5 of the biggest things that you should be excited for from the Xbox briefing. Starting at the bottom, ID at Xbox announced over 20 new releases that are going to be coming to the console. This is the same service that brought us Ori and the Blind Forest and other incredible indie titles that are really affordable and for people like me, you almost live and die for. Going through some of the games that were shown very quickly: Outer Wilds, After Party, Kingdom 2 Crowns, The Golf Club 2019, Warhammer, Fringe Wars Below from Cappy Games here in Toronto, Conker's Blade, Waking, Raj, Super Meat Boy Forever, Planet Alpha, Island of the Nye, Sable, and a little more Sable, Herod Halibut, Bomber Crew, Children of Morta, The Wind Road, Wargrove, Generation Zero, Dead Cells, and Ashen. The 2 big ones there for me, right off the bat, is Sable. This is one of the most beautiful video games I've ever seen. It seems to harken back to Shadow of Colossus with a little bit of a Flower vibe, if you remember those indie titles, and of course Below here in Toronto. We've seen a lot of what Cappy Games can do, and I'm just excited that these are all coming together on this one platform within the next year. It's just always refreshing to see a commitment to these indie games that oftentimes don't get a fair shake. We finally got to see what From Software is working on in participation from Activision, which is very interesting. From Software, of course, famously made the Souls games, and the Bloodborne series is coming back with Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice, an action game where you play a samurai with a prosthetic arm. It is very much in the vein of the Soulsborne franchises that preceded it. It's a stunning visual spectacle that has all the great stuff that you loved in the Bloodborne series, with just that awesome Japanese tinge that we always wanted from these games, to actually be set in that sort of world. There seems to be more of a focus on story, and most surprisingly, the fact that Activision is bankrolling this is kind of incredible, because they're not known for their appreciation of niche games. And does that mean that this game might not have that same difficulty bar that From Software is famous for? I doubt it. I think they just realized that, hey, they can make a lot of money. This looks beautiful as hell. Sure, we'll support it. I was not personally the biggest fan of The Division, but what we saw today from The Division 2 seems like they're looking to elevate a game genre that they almost invented, the idea of having more action-oriented MMOs together. It was new for the time, but now we look at games as so much of a live service that it almost seems commonplace. Division 2, they've decided to make this colorful and beautiful. We're in DC this time with an overarching kind of conspiratorial narrative. Green, blooming, beautiful, canned multiplayer dialogue in E3 conferences, which every person just loves to hear what they think multiplayer actually sounds like. But what we saw seemed very, very compelling. And then when it comes to the actual combat, I think, again, they've refined this one way of playing a game to both include the strategic and team-based fighting elements that they kind of had an issue with in the past Division. I know the latest DLC kind of really refined this, but just visually, it's not like something we've seen before, where there are so many games that are set in this post-apocalyptic backdrop. It's just very refreshing to see something that looks different, seems like it's at the top of its game, and is going to kind of fill that itch that I don't think Destiny 2 or Anthem necessarily will. Very unexpected, Dying Light 2 announced today from Techland. The original Dying Light was a real tour de force. It was an incredibly adaptable parkour-based game that was really fun and interactive and had a fluidity of combat that reminded you of Mirror's Edge, but was even more refined. The reason this is so high up in the things that excited me is because of that one beautiful, beautiful boy, Chris Avallone, that came on stage and has been solely responsible for essentially writing all of the great reactive worlds in video games that I really enjoyed, going back from Fallout New Vegas, most recently, of the work he's done in Prey, the new Pillars. He really is one of the best minds at creating a world that reacts to you in a very meaningful way. He explained on stage that in Dying Light 2, you have tremendous amounts of choices that branch off into how it affects the actual world, with the underlying basement of, as soon as it goes to nighttime, this kind of fucks up everyone's plans. I love this way of playing games, and especially from what we saw from Anthem yesterday, like, where are these great big RPG single player experiences that are fun? And I think Dying Light might even allow you to have another player jump in, but I really want to have those branching reactive worlds. This is the top tier when it comes to the zombie genre. The fact that they had Chris come out on stage and say that this is a real pillar of what we're going to do blows it out of the water. I want. The conference was ending and we thought maybe we wouldn't get to see Cyberpunk, but CD Projekt Red came through in a big way. We only saw a 2-minute trailer, but there was so much heart, there was so much strong aesthetic motifs and kind of hidden information. Cyberpunk 2077 will be a single-player game. You're able to create your own characters. There's no microtransactions. It's a powerful, strong DLC sort of game that's massive. Aesthetically, they've been able to encapsulate the word cyberpunk more beautifully in a game than I think I've ever seen before. There's other games that have tried to reach for that and have gotten close, but the fact that CD Projekt Red is developing this themselves, they're publishing it themselves, and it looks this beautiful and reactive and weird. I completely fell in love with this. I've been spending the last few hours analyzing every little detail. By far the most interesting and exciting announcement here from Microsoft. Now, there are tons of honorable mentions, of course. Halo, Jump Force, Crackdown 3, Battletoads, for Christ's sake, Kingdom Hearts 3, Forza 4, you know, we got to see the new Shadow of Tomb Raider, Tunic, which looks beautiful, the new Gears games, they're making like 4 different ones, Just Cause is back. There's just so much here that worked so well and I think will appeal to the fundamentals of most gamers out there. This was a breath of fresh air from what we saw yesterday from EA. My top 5, what was yours? I want to see what really titillated you. And yeah, what do you think Sony needs to do to really come out on top?